Section 3 of The Haunted Hour, an anthology by Margaret Widdemer. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Recording by Nemo. The Nicht Atween the Sancts and Souls, Part 2. Janet's Tryst by George MacDonald. Sweep up the floor, Janet, put on another peat. It's a lown and starry nicht, Janet, neither cold nor weet. And it's open hoose we keep the nicht, for only that may be oot. It's the nicht atween the Sancts and Souls, when the boldest gang aboot. Set the chairs back to the wall, Janet, mak ready for quiet folk. Hae a thing as clean as a winding sheet, they comin' o' ilk oak. There's a spare upo' the floor, Janet, and there's a roaring berry. Sweep them into the fire, Janet, they'll be welcomer than merry. Seen set open the door, Janet, wide open for what kens wha. As you come to your bed, Janet, set it open to the wall. She set the chairs back to the wall, but ane made of the back. She swept the floor, or left any spare, a long spare o' the ache. The nicht was lone, and the stars sat still, a glinting doon the sky, and the souls crept out o' their mouldy graves, I think would lying by. When midnight came the mither rays, so I gae see and hear. Back she came with a glowing face, and sloomin' with very fear. There's ane o' them sitting afore the fire, Janet, gae now to see. Ye left a chair afore the fire, while I told ye nae chair suld be. Janet, she smiled in her mither's face, she had brunt the rod and breed, and she left aneath the birken chair the spare frae a coffin lid. She rase and she gaed aboot the hoose, I steeking door and door. 3 hours gaed by ere her mother heard her feet upon the floor. But whan the grey cock crew she heard the sound o' shoeless feet. Whan the red cock crew she heard the door on a sough o' wind and weet. On Janet cam back wi' a wan face, but never a word said she. No man ever heard her voice loud oot, it cam like frae ower the sea. And no man ever heard her lach, nor yet say last nor wee. But a smile aye glimmered on her wan face, like the moon looked on the sea. And ilk nicht twixt the Sancts and Souls, wide open she set the door, and she mended the fire, she left a chair, and that spale upo' the floor. And at midnight she gaed but the hoose, aye steeking door and door. When the red cock crew she cam ben the hoose, I wanted them before. Wanna her face and sweeter her smile, to the 7th All Souls' Eve. Her mither she heard the shoeless feet, says she's comin' I believe. But she camna ben, and her mither lay, for fear she could not stand. But up she rase, and ben she gaed, when the golden cock had crown. And Janet sat upo' the chair, white as the day did daw. Her smile was the sunlit left on the sea, whan the sun has gane awa. Hallows E'en by Winifred M. Letts. The girls are laughing with the boys, and gaming by the fire. They're wishful, every one of them, to see her heart's desire. 'Twas Thesie cut the barn brack, and found the ring inside. Before next Hallows E'en has dawned, herself will be a bride. But little Molly stands alone outside the cabin door, and breaks her heart for one the waves threw dead upon the shore. 'Twas Katie's nut leapt from the hearth, and left poor Pat's alone. But Ellen stayed by Christy Bairns upon the wide hearthstone. And all the while the child her bobbed for apples set afloat. The old men smoked their pipes and talked about the foundered boat. But Molly walked upon the cliff, and never feared the rain. She called the name of one she loved, and bid him come again. Young Peter pulled the cabbage stump to win a wealthy wife. Rosanna threw the apple peel to know who'd share her life. And Lizzie had a looking glass she'd hid in some dark place, to try if there, for an instant own, she'd see her comrade's face. But Molly walked along the quay, where Terry's feet had trod, and sobbed her grief out in the night, with no one near but God. She heard the laughter from the house, she heard the fiddle played. She called her dead love to her side. Why should she be afraid? She took his cold hands in her own, she had no thought of dread, and not a star looked out to watch the living kiss the dead. The lads are gaming with the girls, and laughing by the fire, but Molly in the cold dark night has found her heart's desire. On Kingston Bridge, by Ellen M. H. Cortazaz. On All Souls' Night the dead walk on Kingston Bridge. Old legend. On Kingston Bridge the starlight shone through hurrying mist and shrouded glow. The boding night wind made its moan, the mighty river crept low. 'Twas All Souls' Night, and to and fro the quick and dead together walked, the quick and dead together talked, on Kingston Bridge. Two met who had not met for years. Once was their hate too deep for fears. One drew his rapier as he came, up leapt his anger like a flame. With clash of mail he faced his foe, and bade him stand and meet him so. He felt a graveyard wind go by, cold, cold as was his enemy. A stony horror held him fast. The dead looked with a ghastly stare, and sighed, "I know thee not," and passed, like to the mist, and left him there, on Kingston Bridge. 'Twas All Souls' Night, and to and fro the quick and dead together walked, the quick and dead together talked, on Kingston Bridge. Two met who had not met for years. With grief that was too deep for tears, they parted last. He clasped her hand, and in her eyes he sought love's rapturous surprise. "O sweet," he cried, "hast thou come back to say thou lovest thy lover still?" Into the starlight pale and cold she gazed afar, her hand was chill. "Dost thou remember how we kept our ardent vigils, how we kissed? Take thou these kisses as of old." An icy wind about him swept. "I know thee not," she sighed, and passed into the dim enshrouding mist, on Kingston Bridge. 'Twas All Souls' Night, and to and fro the quick and dead together walked, the quick and dead together talked, on Kingston Bridge. All Souls' Night, by Louisa Humphreys. Canis the priest went out on the night of souls. "Stay, oh stay," said the woman who served his board. "Stay, for the path is strait with pits and holes, and the night is dark, and the way is lone abroad. Stay within, because it is lone at least." "Nay, it will not be lone," said Canis the priest. Dim without, and a dim low sweeping sky, a scent of earth in the night, of opened mould, a listening pause in the night, and a breath passed by, and its touch was cold as the graves are cold. Canis went on to the waste where no men be. "Nay, I will not be lone to night," said he. Shades that flit besides the shades of the night, rustling sobs besides the sobs of the wind, steps of feet that pace with his on the right, steps that pace on the left, and steps behind. Nay, no fear that I shall be lone, at least. Lo, there are throngs abroad, said Canis the priest. Deathly hands that pluck at his cassock's hem, sighings of earthly breath that smite his cheek. Canis the priest swings on, attuned with them, hears the throbbings of pain, and hears them speak, hears the word they utter, and answers, Yea, yea, poor souls, for I heed I pray, I pray. Lo, a gleam of gray, and the dark is done. Hark, a bird that trills a song of the light. Canis hies him home by the shine of the sun. What today of those pallid wraiths of the night? What of the woeful notes that had wailed and fled? Maria ora pro illis, Canis said. End of section 3.